Imamia Medics International expresses deep sorrow and offers condolences for the death of George Floyd on Monday, May 25, 2020, while being restrained on the ground with the weight of a policeman on his neck. In this pivotal and historic moment in time, we offer solidarity with those who continue to cry out for justice, equality, and reform throughout this country through peaceful protests, demonstrations, and marches. We at IMI believe it is our duty to stand up in solidarity with our Black brothers and sisters and help in the fight for racial and social justice. Across America, we are witness to the racial injustices facing Black communities and hope to use our platform to support marginalized communities and actively call for an end to systemic discrimination built into the fabric of this country. This is only one instance in a long and painful history of oppression and police brutality faced by Black communities in the United States of America. In 2019, the American police killed more than 1,000 people, 24% of which were African American, even though they only make up 13% of the population.
In the month of Ramadan, we were praying, staying up all night, and reciting dua. Hopefully we were also reading the words of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. He reminded us that we have a responsibility. That responsibility is to stand against the zalim, that who is the oppressor, and standing with the mazloom, he who is being oppressed. Right now, we're seeing an awakening in the light of what happened to George Floyd. We're seeing an awakening where people, including Muslims, are waking up to the reality of this oppression that, I'm a Black man in America, live it every day, have tons of experiences with being on the receiving end of this kind of oppression and injustice.
This is not an isolated incident of police brutality that we've seen that has impacted one individual, namely George Floyd, over the last couple of weeks. But rather, this is years, decades, centuries worth of racial injustice manifesting itself day after day in this country. And if I truly care to make a difference, I need to look in my own heart. My own racisms, my own discriminations, my own bigotries, my own prides, my own ignorances, my own arrogances. I need to start weeding them out. And we collectively as a Shi'i community need to do the same. Look individually, but also look within our own communities. Our religious institutions, our seminars and workshops, our mosques and Islamic centers. Are we truly being inclusive toward combating the racist ideologies and underpinnings that engage our communities at all different levels?
What do we want it? Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! George Floyd!
As Sheikh mentioned, it is important to make sure that we are striving to make a difference in our local communities. Martin Luther King Jr. mentions in his letter written from Birmingham jail, in any non-violent campaign, there are 4 basic steps. Collection of the facts to determine whether injustices exist, negotiation, self-purification, and direct action. IMI is doing its part by writing letters to the Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, and other government officials, advocating for reforms in the police system and justice for George Floyd. As a form of direct action, we at Imamia Medics International have established the Bilal George Floyd Scholarship to show our support, love, and solidarity towards our Black brothers and sisters. This scholarship is named after both Hazrat Bilal ibn Rabah, one of the most trusted and loyal Sahaba of our Holy Prophet, Muhammad, peace be upon him, and George Floyd. To join us in this noble venture, please visit imamiamedics.org. Donate.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He states in Surah An-Nisa, that is chapter 4 of the Quran, verse 135, He calls out the believers, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kunu qawwamina bil qist, shuhada'a lillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us. He does not make a statement, but He commands us to be the champions of justice, be those who establish justice. So it is our duty and our responsibility in this time, and in other times as well, to be the voices of justice, and not simply be the voices of justice. If we are able to effect change through whatever means, through our voices, through our contribution, whether it's financial contributions, whether it's through contributing our time to establish this justice, this is what we must do.
As Sheikh Muhibbullah spoke about in his video, just speaking up is not enough. We encourage you to do whatever you are able to try to make an impact. Help us in signing petitions, emailing congressmen, mayors, governors, and other politicians in power to demand that they put their efforts into standing up for the rights of the oppressed. Attend peaceful demonstrations that advocate for justice for the lives lost to police brutality. Only with speaking out and resisting can we create the future we wish to see, one of equality and racial justice. The first link shown here has a list of petitions currently being circulated advocating for justice for many victims of police brutality. The second is a helpful website where you can draft emails to cities and politicians advocating for reform. We encourage you to visit them and do what you can to help.
It doesn't matter whether we are personally suffering from an injustice. If anybody is deprived of their rights, of their dignity, of their humanity, that is an Islamic issue and it is a personal issue for us. And with our prayers, with our words, with our actions, we must stand with that person who has been wronged and work tirelessly and continuously for the eradication of that injustice and all injustice.
God in the Quran makes a very powerful statement, an answer to these issues. لا يغير الله بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. God does not change a group of people until they change themselves. That being said, let's work on working and developing ourselves and others, those around us, in order to bring about true change and remove all forms of injustice, for truly the words of Dr. King ring true. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
As Sayyid mentioned, injustice and oppression are seen across the globe, and it is our job to fight to correct the injustices that we witness firsthand across the country. Imam Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam has said, "Those who are silent when others are oppressed are guilty of oppression themselves." To liberate, we need to educate ourselves and our communities about the injustices and inequalities we see. We must work to combat racism and prejudice, first within our communities and amongst ourselves. In this historic moment in time, Imamiya Medics International continues to work to serve the underprivileged and marginalized, and promote equality and justice, be it at home or around the world. We hope that you will join us in this effort. Black Lives Matter.